Despite protests, cries and demands for more transparency, electoral bonds are becoming more and more popular with political parties. The biggest chunk of money is coming in for the BJP for the year 2018-19 as per a report by the Association of Democratic Reform at rupees 1450 crore. The Congress at 383 crore rupees and the TMC at 97 crore rupees. Now, these are only 3 of 6 national parties who've even bothered to file their details with the Election Commission. So that's how we know. But that's not the only interesting part. Data from this report also shows the largest source of funds for all 3 parties has now become electoral bonds. 60% for the BJP and about 41% for the Congress, about 50% for the Trinamool. And no one really can know who is funding these electoral bonds. The simple question is, don't we deserve to know who has given the ruling party over 1400 crore rupees or who is funding the Congress or the TMC? To speak on the continued lack of transparency in electoral funding, I'm joined today by Professor Jagdeep Chokar, founder of the Association of Democratic Reforms, S.Y. Qureshi, former Chief Election Commissioner, and Narendra Taneja of the BJP. Welcome to all of you and thank you for joining us on the show today. Mr. Chokar, let me begin by asking you, because I know ADR and you have been tracking electoral bonds since the day the first tranche opened. Are we seeing a larger acceptability in political parties? And while the opposition may talk about, this being non-transparent, everyone's happy to take the funding.
That is precisely the point. The electoral bonds have become the instrument of choice because nobody knows who buys them and who gives them to which political party. All we know from political parties, as you have said, that X amount of money has been received through electoral bonds. And that is all the information one gets. And the other argument given was that companies will have to show it on their balance sheet. All the companies show is that they bought X amount of electoral bonds. Whom they gave it to is not known. So electoral bonds have been the bugbear from the day not only the first tranche was opened, from the day they were introduced in the budget. Because the very same day in the afternoon, the then finance minister had said that the electoral bonds will be in the nature of bearer bonds. The identity of the donor will be anonymous. And it is from that day on that we've been looking for a dictionary which says anonymity and transparency are the same. Normally, they are opposite of each other. So if there is anonymity, then the question of transparency does not arise. Electoral bonds have actually removed whatever the whiff of transparency there was in the electoral and political funding. Now it is absolutely above board, legal, to give whatever amount of money, whoever wants to whichever political party, and nobody will know.
Okay. No, so absolutely. Dr. Qureshi, why do you think that parties are preferring more and more to take money through electoral bonds, and what really can voters do? What really can voters do about this? And what are the dangers of more and more electoral funding coming through bonds?
No, I don't. Parties only want money. Whichever way it comes, if it can only come through electoral bonds, they are happy to do that. But remember, the parties had originally objected because they want to know how much the ruling party is getting from whom, and more than the political party, it is the concern of the citizen, the voter. Voter wants to know transparency. And if I may just remind you of the minister's budget speech, which started extremely well. He said without transparency of political funding, free and fair elections are not possible. And he said for 70 years we have failed to achieve the transparency. So one expected that now what he is going to say is how he is going to bring about transparency. What he did was he removed whatever transparency existed, as the Professor Chokar rightly said. Till then, any transaction, any donation of more than 20,000 was reported to the Election Commission. Now a donation of 20 crores, we don't know Who gave money to which political party? Well, a ruling party here or ruling party in the state. But people want to know, because then there is a quid pro quo possible.
Yeah.
Because if a company gave 50 crores, what contract, what licenses and what bank loans which they run away, they are going to get. We want to know that. People want to know that. And Election Commission want to know that.
Absolutely. Election Commission wants to know that, the people want to know that, and voters want to know that. Mr. Taneja, don't you think that on a very basic level, it's unfair? It's unfair that nobody knows who the donors are to the ruling party, to the opposition party, or to any of the national parties. Those that have at least bothered to file their details, which is only 3 out of 6.
Tamanna, it depends how you want to look at these things. Aren't you happy that we have more formalization now? You know, the funding has got more formalized than before, than when people would just come in their, bags and deliver that money at the party headquarters or to different politician, or most party used to have just fund collectors. So don't you think that is much better? Look at the Congress party from the preceding year, only 5 crore bonds to where they are now. They have 383 crores. Imagine, from 5 to 383, and the same party only yesterday was against it. And look at. So I think it's a formalization. If you say that this electoral bond is the perfect funding model, we don't know. I mean, if there is something better, please come up with a suggestion.
It's not.
It's much better than certainly people carrying bags. You want to say something?
No, you're saying you don't know if it's the perfect model. You don't know? Do you agree that it's not? People are not carrying bags, but I still don't know who's giving the money. Don't I deserve to know, Mr. Taneja? If the government wants extreme detail on how I spend my money and to know whether I'm evading taxes, don't I as a citizen deserve to know who is funding the top political parties? And you have a point about the Congress's hypocrisy. But here I'm putting all the parties in one dock. Everyone's happy to take money which is anonymous. It's essentially anonymous.
Okay. Tamanna, you have a point. I wouldn't say that, there is no merit in your argument. There is a merit. The question is then, how do we go forward on this? For instance, if you say that company X, let's say company X, say they have given X amount of money to Congress party, and Congress party is in power in Madhya Pradesh. And what happens if, for instance, a party which is not in power and they realize that you want to come and do some business there, but you have funded the other party, you haven't given anything to them, they'll make your life hell. We also have to be realistic. We don't live in a kind of world where these things don't exist, such emotions, such reactions don't exist. We have to be realistic, which is precisely I'm saying.
BJP is scared of the Congress party's wrath.
Please tell us then what is the best way forward.
Okay. Let me get the experts to tell you. So a couple of things. Formalization. Number one argument was that at least it's not in a bag of cash. At least it's not a bag of cash. It's in the form of an electoral bond. So we should be happy about that. Dr. Qureshi wants to respond. Yes, Dr. Qureshi. Let's listen quickly to what Dr. Qureshi is saying. Yes.
No, Mr. Taneja rightly asked a question, what is the way forward? I'll suggest a way forward, and which is a 30-second solution. I agree that the electoral bond may have great virtues. Now the cash transactions have disappeared. And the 30-second solution which I'm offering, please let us know the source, who gave how much money to whom. Just declare it, that's all. And the problem is solved, then we have achieved a near ideal solution.
Well, that's an excellent suggestion. I'm going to take a quick response from Mr. Taneja. Quick response. Are you ready to declare? Are you ready to declare? Nothing in the law stops you from declaring.
No, you see, the point is that if you go that direction, whether Congress party is in power or Congress party in state or TMC in West Bengal, the point is that you then can face a kind of, call it by any name, but from the, other political party which is in power in some other state. And if you are a conglomerate, or if you are a corporate and you've got business interests there, they are going to make your life difficult there.
Yeah.
Mr. Qureshi earlier used to talk about public funding, that all elections should be public funding. Unfortunately, we have not economically, a developed state like Sweden or Germany. But the
Okay.
point here is that we all have to put our head together and say, yes, transparency is absolutely important. Yes, it's important that we have got honesty, but how do we go about it? At least today we stand that from, bags to at least
Is
it
it
has
an
got
improvement?
formalized.
Okay, let me
Now
get
we
Mr.
need to put
Jagdeep
our head
Chokar in on this.
together
Mr.
further
Chokar,
and say,
same
all
argument
right,
which has been
can we make it
reiterated by
even
Mr.
more
Taneja. Just
transparent?
as an aside, Mr. Taneja, I know you're speaking from the BJP today. You are representing all parties in this panel, whether you like it or not, and I think to believe that only the other parties can be vindictive and the BJP is all virtuous is a little tough for anyone to digest, but I'll give you that as a BJP spokesperson. Jagdeep Chokar, your response to the merit which Mr. Taneja is pointing out, at least there is formalization, he says.
You see, earlier bags of money were carried to political party offices. Today, bags of money are carried somewhere else. We don't know where they are carried to, even into tax havens from where then the money comes through banking channels to the State Bank of India.
Yeah.
So bags of money go to an undisclosed destination and a piece of paper comes from the State Bank of India and it comes to the political party. Now, if this is formalization, at least I am not satisfied with it. Number two, Mr. Taneja has repeatedly said that if Congress party is in power in Madhya Pradesh and Tamil Nadu or Trinamool Congress in West Bengal,
Yeah.
if people don't pay them, they will make their life hell. So this fact that a political party in power will and does make the life of corporates hell unless they pay them money is known and accepted. So once we accept that political parties will make the life of corporates hell if they don't pay, then there is nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
We need to question this assumption. Why should political parties make life hell for corporates?
No,
Can't political
wouldn't
parties be disciplined?
wouldn't that be
Are they
patently
above the law of
illegal?
the land?
Wouldn't that be patently illegal? So then are we accepting that the law of the land does not apply to
Well,
political parties? Quick response from Mr. Taneja.
Illegality.
Yes, Mr. Taneja, go ahead.
No, you see, the point is that, there are two ways to look at it. One, we look at it as if we live in the most ideal world. The fact is that here we're talking about the situation where only 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago, how, where the money used to come for these funds, for elections. We all know that. We do, but from there, I'm just saying we have to have some context. From there to where we stand today is largely formalized. And also those people who are familiar with the India's corporates and how the corporate function and that includes Tamanna, you and me. We know that is very well. When it comes to amounts we are discussing here, corporate don't need to go really to Isle of Man or to Mauritius and all those places for these kind of things. Because you see, here we are talking about in total, about 1,315 crore rupees. And look at the size of corporates and the big corporates in our country. Now, so let's talk more kind of how the progress that we have made. Yes, one point that there should be more transparency. We should have no political party should not indulge in any kind of going after those people and not with them. Those are the issues we must debate being a democracy. But what I'm saying is that what we have achieved, condemning it is saying is outrightly bad, is very negative. That's where I have objection. I'm saying is, whatever you have achieved, please acknowledge it.
No, but
and
what
how
is the
can we make it
acknowledgement
more
for? What is
transparent?
the acknowledgement
what kind of
for?
mechanism experts have got to propose? There should be, let
Is
there
it
be
an
debate on that.
achievement? Why is it an achievement if people still don't know? If people still don't know who is giving these large amounts of money and where they're coming for. Some can argue that it is actually a step backwards because that veil of transparency can even allow illegal people and illicit funds to flow into political parties even you may not know. Isn't that a fear? Is that a valid fear? I want to just get Jagdeep Chokar in on that before I let you respond, Mr. Taneja. Yes, Mr. Chokar. Let me just get his point of view. Yes.
One thing, Tamanna, it seems you and Mr. Taneja know what corporates do and we don't know. Therefore, there is not much I should say. Let me add that if the only purpose of electoral bonds was to provide a formalized system, why was the 7.5% limit on the profits that a company could donate to a political party removed? And why was the requirement that the company will have to declare the name of the party and the amount of money donated in order to get any advantage or tax on this? So why was the 7.5% limit removed? Why has the definition of a foreign source in the FCRA been changed retrospectively in an act which has been dead for 8 years? Now, all this is not part of the discussion that we should have, because you and Mr. Taneja know how corporates work. Thank you.
No, I think since you've taken offense to the statement Mr. Taneja made, he should respond to it. I've just been, an innocent bystander in that claim. I don't think that's the point. I think everyone deserves to know.
You see,
yes.
no, Tamanna, the point is, Professor Saab is just taunting and very cynical. I don't think it's a very positive approach. You can be cynical, come with your own interpretation and all that. That's all up to you. I leave it to your viewers. But the point here is that what I'm trying to say is from where to where we stand today. Is that the kind of ideal solution? Probably not.
Okay.
But the question is that how do we take it forward in terms of money coming from foreign tax havens and all that? If anybody is doing that, it's illegal. And there are laws to, address such issues. We have got laws in this country. So
exactly.
if somebody is doing that,
those laws also
that's
protect.
not allowed.
Those
under
laws
the law.
also will
now
protect any corporates from illegal actions by governments in power. Hopefully, those laws work even for political parties. I'm going to give a last word to Mr. Qureshi before I wrap up. You gave a 30-second solution which no one is going to implement. You gave a 30-second solution which no one is going to implement, which is why don't you actually tell people? I actually had a conversation with a top Congress leader a few days ago on this show where I said that why don't you show, lead by example and declare where your source of funding is. Lead by example. Nothing really has happened on that front. Do you think anyone's really going to take your advice?
Correct. Yeah. No, the first thing is my 30-second solution needs to be seriously considered, but there is an alternative solution also. Instead of, the very question of corporates being scared, I think it is all phony and bogey. For 70 years, corporates have been donating to political parties. I would like to ask BJP, the Congress, has anybody ever harassed a donor of the other party? Has BJP harassed the donors of Congress? Has Congress harassed the donors of the BJP? It's all bogey. Corporates donate to every party. Whosoever comes to power, they are there. So therefore, that is not the issue. But in any case, a national electoral fund can be created. Instead of donating directly to the political party, let the donations come to the national electoral fund, from where it will be distributed to the political parties based on their strength and their performance. So that is the other solution which has been on the table for a long time, but nobody ever discusses it.
Well, that is another one which I wonder if people or political parties will really want, where you have a centralized pool. That may be even tougher to go through. Yes, last word to you, Mr. Chokar. I know that this is also making its way through the courts. Is that the next hope, that the courts force some transparency, and can they?
Well, the matter is, as you know, is in the Supreme Court, but I just want to add an addendum to Dr. Qureshi's solution. If we have a national electoral fund from which money is given to political parties based on their performance, it will have to be ensured that political parties do not take any other money from any other source. I would like to see the day when political parties agree not to take money from any other source.
Well, they agree on nothing.
The solution is to discipline political parties by law. That is it.
Yeah, I think transparency is the least that the people of this country deserve, that you and I and all voters deserve. We deserve to know who's funding political parties. And really, if any person wants to fund a political party or any entity, any corporate house even, they should do it openly without fear or favor. And that's the least that we can expect. Mr. Taneja, I apologize, I'm right out of time, but I want to thank all of you for joining us on the debate this evening.